And so when I say Chinese, I want you to scream out the nation that's associated with this. For example, if I say Chinese, you're going to say what?
China.
All right, let's say it with authority. When I say Chinese, you say what? China. All right, that's just a test right there. So here we go. Chinese.
China.
Russian.
Russia.
Italian.
Italy.
German.
Germany.
Swedish.
Sweden.
Korean.
Korea.
Egyptian.
Egypt.
Nigerian.
Nigeria.
Black.
Exactly. Nothing. Tell him, Pastor. Tell him, Pastor. Black, nothing. Yes.
I hope you were able to successfully identify the issue.
The lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. They want us to sell our souls to barter profit. Like God's property, it's hard to market. So we steady to aim, keep your eyes on target. Cause when you got to drive, yeah, they'd rather you park it. But I don't valet, you ain't getting these keys. I'm keeping closed hands, I'm on bended knee. I'm just a reflection, dealing with 8 sections. Art mixed with life, you can feel the convection. Your lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the
Genesis chapter 11 verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you.
I want to say peace and blessings to everyone. I know this is a unscheduled live, and so I wanted to continue on with the lesson last night, but actually I want to go back over it and take it a step further because going back over and listening to the live last night, there was some key slides that I didn't include into the presentation. So I want to go back over the lesson, but then add some additional slides that I didn't include, so that way it flows the way it should. So we're going to go back over what we taught on last night, but I'm going to add to it. I'm going to add to what I originally had in my other presentations. So I kind of went back over, modified the slides just so that way it flows better. And then also to give you more clarity, because again, I was supposed to highlight a couple of passages, words from the Messiah. That's why it was labeled the times of Noah yesterday, but I didn't touch on that because I forgot to put the slides in there. So we got quite a bit that we're going to touch on tonight. Before I get started, I want to give shout outs to my cousin, Shalonda Carr. Family, show some love for my cousin here, the wife of the late Dr. Sean Carr. And so she's been holding it down. Really appreciate her. So family, let's show my cousin some love here in the live. Hallelujah. So I want to say peace and blessings. Matter of fact, I'll do some shout outs. I haven't really done some shout outs in a while. So family, show my cousin some love here, but let me give a couple of shout outs and then we'll get right into it. Don't want to take too much time with the getting into the lesson, but I want to give some shout outs. I want to say peace and blessings to Priscilla Sharp. I want to say peace and blessings to Sister Joy, Sister Alexandria. I want to say shalom to you. Appreciate you, sis. I want to say peace and blessings to Quam 12. Shalom to you as well. Who else do we have here? TM, or I'm not sure if that stands for the Most High. I'm not sure, but peace and blessings to you. Let's see here. Shalom to you as well. Let's see here. Redeem richly. I want to say peace and blessings to you. Thank you. We woke in Familia and such. Definitely Really appreciate you. Woke praise the Most High. Just so appreciative. Really appreciate you too. Thank you for the love and support. Daniel Floyd, shalom to you. Mr. Pirate Brain, peace and blessings to you, my brother. Appreciate the love and support from you as well. Echo Bella, want to say peace and blessings to you. And forgive me if I did not pronounce your name correctly. So peace and blessings to you. Charge it to my head, not to my heart. Aniyeki, want to say peace and blessings to you. Shalom to you. Charles West, want to say shalom to you. Redeem, want to say peace and blessings to you. Shalom to you. Jamila, Rashida Rivera, want to say peace and blessings to you. Appreciate you for watching this live tonight. So I want to say shalom to you. And let's see who we have here. Hadassah Ben Yah, want to say peace and blessings to you. Dante Williams, peace and blessings to you. CB, peace and blessings to you. Amiyah, peace and blessings to you. Let's see here. Ari Lynn, shalom to you as well. Cynthia B, peace and blessings to you. General War, man, want to say shalom to you. Who else do we have? Yah's love, peace and blessings to you. All right. A few more here. Again, show some love for my cousin here, family. Show some love for my cousin, Barbara Jackson. I want to say peace and blessings to you. Sister Yvette, peace and blessings to you. Rod Lee, shalom to you. Anyone else here? Let's see here. Sister Yvette, peace and blessings, shalom to you. Let's see here. Hot water cornbread. Okay. Peace and blessings to you. My buddy, Jay Highstyle in the building. Peace and blessings to you, my buddy, Jay. Lemira Johnson, shalom to you. Appreciate the love, support over the past couple of years. Appreciate you, sis. Let's see here. Dejana, excuse me if I mispronounce your name. I want to say peace and blessings to you. Girl Meets Kingdom. I want to say hi, family, to you as well. Let's see here. Danielle Felder, want to say shalom to you. Don P in the building, want to say peace and blessings to you. A couple more here and we'll get started. Yafe Ben Dawad, want to say, or should I say Dodd? Excuse me if I mispronounce your name. Charge to my head, not to my heart. Shalom to you as well. And Black to my roots. Peace and blessings to you. Let's see. Do I have enough time to get a couple more in here? Let's see here. I think I got everyone. David Kirkwood, Jacqueline Johnson, Cindy Lee, Lou, Elephant Man Podcast. I encourage everyone, if you haven't subscribed to his channel, doing a lot for this awakening, doing a lot for the kingdom. All right. Let's see here. Yashara Al. I want to say shalom to you as well. All right, family, let's go and get into it. We have a lot to cover tonight. We're going to double back on what we covered yesterday, but I'm going to go even further with it because we have a lot to deal with, a lot to cover, because there's a lot of different narratives, a lot of different teachings on this. And I want to say shout outs to my brother, Dante, who's put in a lot of work in this area of study. So I want to give some shout outs to him, Dante Forston, but want to go ahead and get into it. So this here, this is a teaching that I've been teaching for years, even before, I began to do the YouTube and Facebook thing. So this is a series that I taught internally. Of course, I had to clean the slides up because my slides look a lot different over 10 years ago to where they are today. So tonight, what we're going to deal with, and this is our topic tonight, giants, the Nephilim, the flood, none survived. Let me say that again. Giants, the Nephilim, or Nephilim, the flood, none survived. All right. That's going to be our topic for tonight. We got a lot to unpack here because I know that there's a lot of different discussions on here, and I'm going to go back over what I taught last night. But I added some additional slides here to trigger additional thoughts. All right. I want to say peace and blessings. Congratulations to my buddy here, Minister Casey, who is now Elder Casey Huey. Family, show some love for this brother right here. Really appreciate all what he's doing. Musician, comedian, you name it, singer. He does a lot. So I want to say congratulations to you, Elder. Really appreciate your labor, appreciate your hard work and your love for the people of the Most High. So congratulations on being ordained an elder. Anything that we could do on our end, let us know. We family. All right. Appreciate you. All right. So, all right, family, let's go ahead and get into it because the reason why I'm doing this series publicly is because of just a lot of the questions that have come to me. And then also to give some clarity, just to give a perspective strictly off the scriptures. We're going to use the scriptures that we have, and we're just going to paint the kind of, do our, if we want to call it forensic, of course, we're going to deal with biblical hermeneutics, going into the scriptures in the proper context, allowing the scriptures to speak to us and not us trying to speak to the scriptures. All right, but let me do something real quick here before my computer go dead on me. There we go. Forgot to plug my laptop up here, and it looked like it was about to go dead on me. All right, my apologies, family. Let me pull this over. All right, but let's go and get into it, family. Giants, the Nephilim, the flood, none survived. All right, let's start off with what are giants? This is the question that we're going to answer here. We're going to answer the question, did giants exist? And I want to start off with the etymological dictionary definition of the word giants so we can put it in this proper perspective. You guys know me. Many of you guys have been following me for years. I'm a firm believer that we have to understand words. Words have meaning. There's a lot of words that get lost, a lot of keywords that get lost in translation, or should I say transliteration. So I want to touch on this here. I want to really start off by giving the etymological dictionary definition of the word giant. Okay. Now notice what it says here. It says from the 13th century, it says fabulous man-like creature of enormous size. Then you see from the French perspective, Old French, you see giant, ogre. See, this is important to know these things. Understand the etymological definition of how this word over the years, the definitions, the meanings. Then you can see how this influences many's perspective when they're dealing with the scriptures. This is why it's very important for you to go into the scriptures, go into the language. You don't have to be a master in Hebrew. You don't have to be a master in Greek, but you should at least know how to go into the scriptures, go into key words like the Strong's, the Hebrew Strongs or the Greek Strongs, right? And pull out these key definitions here and go into the etymological dictionary. Now, those that are part of PFR, Passion for Reconciliation, is our ministry here, right? They already know. I've been teaching them about how to properly go into the text. All of them required to get etymological dictionaries, right? For years, right? Before I even knew there was an online one, right? So this is very important. So when you think about the different images, that's why I purposely put the image in the back of my presentation of this guy looked like almost like an ogre, because these are some of the images that we see based off of this word here. A fabulous man-like creature of enormous size, giant, ogre. All right. It says here at the bottom of here, it says one of a race of divine but savage and monstrous beings. But it goes on to say the word is of unknown origin, probably from a pre-Greek language. So this is really telling us that this word can be vague, right? It's unknown. The origin of it is unknown. But again, look at the influence of how it has on many when we're going into the text. The Israelites did not use this word, right? This is a word that's from, again, let's go back here, right? When we see Old French, right? That Old French that is still part of the Proto Germanic trunk of languages, which is ultimately from the Proto Indo European tree of languages. So we see here again, giant, ogre. All right. It says, but savage and monstrous. Okay. So the children of Israel, right? And now I want to tie this into, go back over to Numbers, right? Because I want to use Numbers like I used yesterday or last night, rather. I really want to go back into Numbers, and I want to unpack this even more. So remember this. This is Numbers with the children of Israel dealing with the promised land. The children of Israel feared the giants, not Paul Yam, the ancient pronunciation of this word, who occupied the promised land. So are these offspring, right? Are these the offspring of the giants of the time of Noah? Are these giants offsprings of those that walked the face of the earth during the time of Noah? We even have a lot to unpack even with that. So when we go to Numbers chapter 13, verse 1 through 3, this is what it says. I, Yahweh, spake unto Moses, saying, send thou men, that they may search the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Israel. Of every tribe of their fathers shall ye send a man, everyone a ruler among them. And Moses, Mashah, by the commandment of Yahweh, sent them from the wilderness of Paran. All those men were heads, Ra'ash, of the children of Israel. So there were several words, right, that described a negative attitude when it came to the 10 that came back with the report, right? Their negative attitude of defeat, fearful, unbelieving, cynical, pessimistic, despairing. And so a person with a negative attitude is often unwilling to face the facts and to face the truth of a situation. We see this right now with the awakening. So many of our brothers and sisters don't want to face the facts, the truth about us being the people of the book. And even we have brothers and sisters that know that we're the people of the book, still holding on to some poor teachings from within the church. So again, a person with a negative attitude is often unwilling to face the facts and to face the truth of a situation. A negative attitude that is deeply rooted will often lead to rebellion. It'll lead to an unwillingness to listen and follow the truth. So family, I know many of you guys have your own thoughts about when we're dealing with the Nephilim. I know many of you have your own thoughts. I know many believe that, that what we see today are, hybrids and all kinds of different things. We're going to go off the scriptures, right? We're not going to interpolate the scriptures. Okay. So a negative attitude that is deeply rooted will often lead to rebellion. It's going to lead to an unwillingness to listen and follow the truth. This was the fundamental problem with Israel. So the results was rebellion against Yahweh and his servant Moses. This rebellion was the final blow, the 10th rebellion of an unbelieving and grumbling within the 2-year span. The grumbling of Yah's people. They complained about everything within a 2-year span after being delivered from Egypt. In 2 years, they complained 10 times. They rebelled 10 times. So I want to go into the evil report because it was an evil report that made the promise of the Most High become good for nothing for the people. And let's deal with that evil report because that evil report is going to tie into the lesson that we're covering tonight. So when we see evil report, right, Dabah, Ra'ah, or Dabath, Ra'ath, evil report, right? The word evil, ra'ah, let's see what it means. It says here, to spoil, to make or be good for nothing. See, that's the key. And I'm sure you guys are witnessing this within this awakening. There are those that just they are purposely putting their mouths on us, lying about us, for the sole purpose of making our testimonies be good for nothing. And I'm sure each one of you guys can attest to what I just said. You can vouch for that. But that's the goal, to make our testimonies, to make our the information that we share with others good for nothing. That's what a bad report is, right? To make or be good for nothing, displease, do harm, do mischief, punish, vex. And most of the attacks that we are dealing with is from those that say that they following the Most High, following his son, following the spirit of Yah. And here's the Hebrew word again for report is dabah or dabath, which transliterates to report. But notice what it says here: slander, defaming, evil report, defamation. Right. So we have a lot of agencies like the ADL and the Southern Poverty Law Center and other groups that are that have painted a negative or painted an evil report about our people. All right. But we're going to continue here. Again, dabah or dabath means evil report, defaming. It means slander. Ra'ah, as we pointed out, to make good for nothing. So in other words, these 10 spies came back with a report that was so bad that they made the promise of the Most High be good for nothing to the people. So the Israelites had reached the desert of Paran that was to be launching the launching point for entering into the promised land. Let me say that again. The Israelites had reached the desert of Paran that was to be the launching point for entering into the promised land. The joy had been long and difficult, primarily because of the unbelief, the grumbling, and the complaints of the people. So many of them had caused problems after problems with their complaints and divisiveness, arousing the chastisement of Yahweh against them. So now at last, they stood ready to enter to the promised land, ready to experience the fulfillment of all their hopes and their dreams. But before they entered, they needed to spy out on the land. They wanted to take a survey of the land. They needed to gather all the tactical information they could about the land and the people living there to learn all they could about what pitfalls and enemies might lie ahead. And so this is what leads me to Numbers chapter 13, again, verse 6 through 8. I'm going to highlight 6 through 8. So each one, right, of the tribes had a representative. Of the tribe of Judah, Caleb. And trust me, Caleb was not a Edomite, because then Moses would be breaking the law by appointing Caleb as a leader of Judah. And I'm going to do a special lesson for that to prove that Caleb was not an Edomite. So of the tribe of Judah, the son of Jephunneh, right, of the tribe of Issachar, Egal, the son of Joseph of the tribe of Ephraim. Then we see Hawashai, which is O'Shea, the son of Nun. This is eventually Joshua's name as Moses changed it from Hawashai to Yahawashai. All right. So the men selected as spies were to be leaders, one from each of the 12 tribes. They were sent out from their present position to the desert of Paran. The spies were selected from the leaders of each tribe. They were obviously outstanding young men, men of courage. And then when we go down to verse 26 through 30, this is what it says. And they went and came to Moses, Mashah, and to Aaron, Aharon, and to all the congregation, Adah, right? Adah means recorders, witnesses. So we as Israelites, we are recorders, we are witnesses to all the witnesses of the children of Israel, unto the wilderness of Paran, to Kadesh, and brought back words unto them, and unto all the congregation, again, to all the witnesses, the recorders, Adah, and shewed them the fruit of the land. And they told him and said, we came unto the land where that thou sentest us, and surely it floweth with milk and honey, milk, kalab, and honey, dabash. And this is the fruit, parai, or paraya. This is the fruit of it. So they came back with proof that the land is prosperous. Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there. Now, circle that in your scripture, in your Bibles. The children of Anak. Verse 29. The Amalekites dwelled in the land of the south. The Hittites and the Jebusites and the Ammonites dwelt in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwelt by the sea and by the coast of Jordan. Right? So verse 30, and Caleb stilled the people before Moses and said, let us go up at once and possess it, Yarash. So the people started getting worked up at the report that they received from the 10 of the 12 spies. But as it says here, Caleb stilled the people before Moses and said, let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. So the report was given to Moses, Aaron, and the entire community of Israelites. Then the fruit was shown to them, as we highlighted, but the report that they gave was mixed. It was a mixed report, right? There was one strong positive factor about the land, that the land flowed with milk and honey. The proof was seen in the fruit that they brought back. The land was fertile, very productive and fruitful. It would be abundantly, right? So much abundance here that it would feed the people in their livestock, giving them all they could ever need or desire. But some of the spies were gripped with an attitude of defeat. They stressed the shocking negative factors and then embellished the facts. They continually, let me say that again. Let me go back here so that way we can really hone in on this. They stressed the shocking negative factors and then embellished the facts. They continually stressed the negative. Right? The people who lived there were powerful, and the cities fortified and very large. The descendants of Anak, the giants, lived there. The Amalekites lived in Negev. They didn't just focus on Anak. The Hittites, the Jebusites, and the Amorites occupied the hill country. The Canaanites occupied the land along the coast and along the Jordan River. And then when we go to verse 31, this is what they say. They continue on with the evil report. But the men that went up with him said, we be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. They weren't just referring to Anak. They referring to all the people that are there. Remember, there's 7 nations. And when you go to Deuteronomy chapter 7, the Most High had to, through Moses, had to reassure the newer generation that was going into the promised land of what the Most High was going to do for them. Again, but the men went up and with him and said, we be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. Chazak, they are stronger than we. And they brought up an evil report in the land. Evil report. Dabah Ra'ad. an evil report, a slanderous report, to make the Most High promises to his people to be good for nothing. They brought up an evil report of the land, and which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, the land through which we have gone to search it, is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof, and all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. And there we saw the giants. Right now they're focusing on the giants, right? Napal Yam, right? That's the plural, Napal singular, but Napal Yam is the plural, masculine plural. Now we're focusing on Anak. Initially, they gave the report of all, but now they folk turning their attention to really, as we pointed out, to really embellish, really blow it up, really try to convince the people not to go. And there we saw giants, Napal Yam, the sons of Anak, which, or in the ancient Hebrew, Anak, which come of the giants, Napal Yam, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers. And so we were in their sight. So you see how they exaggerated here. Come on, family. They are comparing the people, the sons of Anak, as being giants, and they are grasshoppers. You see how they stretching it here? They're really stretching things here. All right. They are really stretching it. Right. They're stretching it. They're really laying it on the people. They are really laying it on the people to discourage them. So trying to use this as a scale. Compare yourself to a grasshopper. That's what they were doing to really bring home their point of the size of this army, not just the physical side, but also the numbers of this army, the people, right? So let's go to the Hebrew definition of the word giants, right? And as we see here, we see bully, we see tyrant, and we see giant. But the key, family, is it from a perspective of how we've been indoctrinated with giants? Because when we think of giants, we're thinking of people that's 50, 60, 70 feet tall. When we think of giants, we're thinking of people that's 100, 200, 300 feet tall. We're thinking of kaijus. We're thinking of Godzilla. We're thinking of that type of stuff. Just like when we think about somebody being possessed, we'll think about like the Exorcist. When we think about a witch, we think about somebody green skinned with a bump on their nose flying on a broom. When actually it's totally the opposite. So this is key. Bully or tyrant. It also means giant. And as I pointed out to you, that this word can be a very generic word. I pointed out to you that this word could be ogre. It could be, as I highlighted and matter of fact, let me go back to the definition of this word. Let me toggle back here real quick. Because remember, this word can be confusing here. That's why I went to it first. But let's go back to giant here. Let me bring it up here so I won't butcher it. So it says here again, giants, fabulous man-like creature of enormous size. And look at the images of what we see of these supposed Nephilims, right? The images, man-like creatures, wings and all kinds of stuff. Or they look like a giant ogre. A giant ogre. But savage and monstrous. This is reading this here. One of the race of divine, but savage monsters, but savage and monstrous beings. All right. Personifying destructive natural forces. The word is of unknown origin, probably from a pre-Greek language. All right. So let's go back to where we left off at. Let's go back here. Let me skip down. All right. There we go. So this is where I really want you guys to understand, wherever you see the word Nephilim, right? Don't automatically default to what we think, or what we've been wired to thinking what giants are. Because again, this word could be bully. It also means tyrant. Okay, so Paul was not only used for the transliterated word giant, but also for bully and for tyrant. And then when we go to the Hebrew dictionary, primitive root word of this word giant, when we go to the primitive root word, this is what it says about that word. It says to fall, cast, in other words, cast down, cast self down, cast lots, right? We see fail, we see fall, cause to fall, let fall, make fall, ready to fall, fall away. So you could easily use this word Paul or fall for those who are what? Fallen away. That would be the Hebrew definition of someone that is fallen away from the Most High. Does that mean that you are a fallen angel? Does that mean that you are a fallen angel because you decided to, because you rejected the things of the Most High? This is why I want to make sure that we put things in this proper perspective. That's why words have meaning, right? It has felling, rot, make to rot, throw down, to fall, be cast down. So again, Paul, this is the primitive root word, also means to fall, fallen away, right? So it means to fall, it means to fall, it means falling away, means again, fallen. So it means tyrant, it means bully, it can mean giant. But we should, I would say a better use of the word would be tall, right? But it could also mean to fall, falling away, fallen. All right. So Anak is described with having a very unique feature. Excuse the typo here. Anak is described with having a very unique feature. Notice this unique feature, right? This is coming from the Eastern Bible Dictionary, the 1894 edition. It says Anak, long neck. Anak, long neck. All right, the son of Arba, father of the Anakim. And then we see some scripture references here. But that's interesting that they put long neck. Now, I was going to upload a clip here, but I didn't have a chance to put it up here to show you some tribes in Africa that is referred to long neck. You know, I was going to show you a video clip of I may show you some if I have enough time, but of a tribe over there that are considered to be giants of our time, because their height can range anywhere from, 6'9", 7 feet tall, all the way up to almost 8.5 feet tall. And the women ranges, even though they're not as tall as the men, but they still tall, with their height ranging from like 6'3", 6'4" to like 6'8", 6'9". But for the sake of time, I didn't put it up here, but I will make sure I'll do a short clip off of this and I will upload it. So the Eastern Bible Dictionary, here's their definition of the sons of Anak. Let's see what it says here. Anakim, right? It says the descendants of Anak or Anak, and it gives some scriptures here. Joshua chapter 11, verse 21, Numbers chapter 13, verse 33, Deuteronomy chapter 9, verse 2. And I encourage you guys that are watching this, make a note of those passages that's on the screen. All right. Make a note of the passages that you see on the screen. All right. I'm letting it sit on the screen for a second so you guys can make a screen print or write down these scriptures so that way you could go back and revisit it. So they dwelt in the south of Palestine, right? Not Palestine, actually Philistine. Palestine it's not an ancient term. The Romans came up with that term. That's a whole nother discussion. But they dwelt in the south of Palestine in the neighborhood of Hebron. And then it gives you some additional scriptures here. In the days of Abraham, we see Genesis chapter 14, verse 5 and 6. They inhabited the region afterwards known as Edom and Moab, east of the Jordan. They were probably a remnant of the original inhabitant of Palestine before the Canaanites, a Cushite tribe of Babel, and of the same race of the Phoenicians and the Egyptian shepherd kings, right? Their formidable warlike appearance, as described by the spies sent to search the land, filled with the Israelites with terror, right? It filled the Israelites with terror, as we just highlighted, all right? Identified them with the Nephilim, in other words, giants. You see, and again, that word giant is a word of confusion. Because when we see giant versus tall, that gives you a whole different perspective. Because when we think of giants, again, we're going to think of the cartoons. We're going to think of comics. We're going to think of, the imagery of today. Genesis chapter 6 and 4, Numbers chapter 13 and 33. It says of the antediluvian age, there were various tribes of Anakim, and it gives you the scripture here, right? Joshua finally expels them from the land, except a remnant that found a refuge in the cities of Gaza, Gath, and Ashad, and we'll deal with this more. So let's go to the Eastern Bible Dictionary. Let's see what they say about the Nephilim or Nephilim, right? Again, that's plural, right? That's the masculine plural. So Nephil, or in the ancient Hebrew, Naphal or Naphal in the Israeli. But anyway, it highlights Genesis chapter 6, verse 4, Numbers chapter 13, verse 33. Giants, the Hebrew word left untranslated by the revisers, the name of one of the Canaanitish tribes. So they're saying that the Nephilim, right, is also, as you see it, the name of one of the Canaanitish tribes. But then we also see translated the Hebrew Giborium, right? Giborim, right? That's the plural, masculine plural, in Genesis chapter 6, verse 4, referring to mighty men. So let's go to Genesis chapter 6, verse 4, right? Since it's mentioned here, it says, there were giants, Napal, Yam, that's the plural, right? In the earth in those days. And also after that, when the sons, Ban Yah of Alahayim, came unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty, right? Gabar Yam, men which were of old, men of renown. All right. So this is where we see it. This is where we see it. So did the angels have sexual relations with the daughters of men? I'll ask that question again. Is this saying that the angels had sexual relationships with the daughters of men? Let's go to the Hebrew definition of what it says, came in unto, because I want to make sure we give another perspective, because we could easily just say yes, but I want to give you another perspective on here, right? What is the meaning of came in unto? Well, I'm glad you guys asked. It says here, to go or come, befall, besiege, to come. In other words, against, and out, upon, to pass, right? Enter, enter in, enter into, entering, entrance, entry, right? Vade, invade, take in, way. Almost sounds like someone being possessed. It almost sound like someone being possessed by a spirit. I'm just giving another perspective here. I know we all want to default with giants or angels, sleeping with the women and then producing these giants. I'm just giving you another perspective here, family. Another perspective, right? Did the angels actually have intercourse with the women? Were they simply possessed? Were they simply deceived like Eve? Because Eve took on the deception of the serpent, and she went to Adam with that conversation. Right? Some would try to say that Adam had Eve physically slept with the serpent and all kinds of crazy stuff, but that's not what the scripture says. The scriptures is clear that Cain is the son of Adam and Eve. So were they simply deceived like Eve? Why didn't the writer use the word no? Because when I looked at the text, right, from a Hebraic perspective, they could have easily put yada or yadai. I'm just giving you another perspective, family. Right? We don't see that word there. And here's the Hebrew definition of the word no. It means, yadai. It means to know. It means recognition, acknowledge, acquaintance. It goes on to say, advise, answer, appoint, assure, be aware, be diligent. And it says here, cause to let, make to know. But then when we go to the etymology dictionary definition of this, notice what it says. Perceive a thing to be identical with another, to be able to distinguish, perceive or understand as a fact or truth. But here's the key. To experience, live through, in other words, meaning to have sexual intercourse with. So when you see the scriptures where it says Adam knew Eve, right? That's Genesis chapter 4. When you see Adam knew Eve, we know that there was a relationship there that's saying that Adam was intimate with his wife. We don't see yada there. Now, I'm not saying, well, actually, I'm just adding another argument here, another way of looking at things. All right. So, but let's go back. Let's deal with it from a perspective of, let's just deal with it from a perspective that, okay, we're just going to go with the narrative of angels, right? Messengers of the Most High having physical intimacy with the women of men. We're just going to go with that thought, right? So let's go with that thought. So remember, now Paul was not only used for the transliterated word giant, but also for bully and tyrant. So again, from the other thought that I pointed out, could they have been possessed with the spirit of tyranny, the spirit of being a bully, the spirit of being disrespectful, profane, with the other thought that I shared with you guys. But again, we're just going to go off the thought for now. We're just going to go off of this angle. So just don't want to confuse anyone. We're going to go off the thought of angels, messengers having inappropriate relations with the daughters of men. So again, now Paul was not only used for the transliterated word giant, but it also means bully. It also means tyrant. It also means falling away. All right. So was the sons of Enoch giants? Were they giants? Because when we think of giants, again, were they the way that we see the images of them, like they're 70, 80 feet tall? The height that you see up in the book of Enoch, having them like the size of the taller than the Empire State Building. Was the sons of Enoch simply bullies? That's another question we can ask. Were they simply tyrants? Right? Did they descend from Noah's sons? Are they the remnant of the fallen angels? See, these are some of the questions that we're going to answer. These are some of the questions that we are going to answer tonight. All right. Were they Philistines? Were they related to Goliath? All right. Some of you guys remember this from last night, but again, I'm going a little deeper with it. 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 3 through 7. And the Philistines stood on the mountain on the one side, and Israel stood on the mountain on the other side, and there was a valley between them. And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines named Goliath of Gath. Write that down, because remember when we read up on the definition of Anakim, right, or Anakim, we saw that a remnant of them went to Gath. That's pretty interesting, right? And that's when we look at here, it says, and there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines named Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. And he had an helmet of brass upon his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail. And the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass, and he had greaves of brass upon his legs, and a target of brass between his shoulders. And the staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and his spears like the weight and his spearheads weighed 600 shekels of iron, and one bearing a shield went before him. So in a nutshell, Goliath was approximately 9 feet 9 inches tall. So he was almost 10 feet tall. His armor consisted of a bronze helmet, a coat of scale armor weighing about 125 pounds, and a pair of bronze leggings. His weapons were a bronze spear with a 15-pound tip, a sword, and a javelin. His shield was carried by an armor bearer who walked before him. I asked the question last night, was King Saul a giant? Why did I ask this? Right? When we go to the scriptures, this is what it says about King Saul. When he had caused the tribe of Benjamin to come nearby their families, the family of Matri was taken, and Saul the son of Kish was taken. And when they sought him, he could not be found. But here's the kicker. Therefore, they inquired of Yahweh further, if the man should yet come thither. And Yahweh answered, behold, he hath hid himself among the stuff. And they ran and fetched him thence. And when he, in other words, Saul, stood among the people, Saul, was higher. We see that word that we saw in Genesis chapter 6, verse 4, Gabah. He was higher than any of the people from his shoulders and upwards. So he was head and shoulders taller than anyone around him. So was he considered a giant? Right? So the Hebrew dictionary definition of higher, right? Gabah, it says to be lofty, to be haughty, but the key, be higher, make higher, raise up, great height, right? Raise up great height. So great height. But here's the kicker, tall, lofty, tall. So we know King Saul was tall. Were the sons of Anak related to this 4 sons, right? These 4 giants that we see here. Because again, when we saw the definition, it said that Joshua, right, the remnant of them, as Joshua defeated them, a remnant of them went to this area called Gath. But let's see what it says here. Let's read about these giants real quick. Moreover, the Philistines had yet war again with Israel, and David went down Yarad and his servants with him and fought against the Philistines, and David waxed faint, right? Right? And Ish Benob, which was of the sons of the giant Rapah, the weight of whose spear weighed 300 shekels of brass in weight. He, being girded with a new sword, thought to have slain David. Now, this giant seemed like he's about the same size, if not He could be possibly be bigger or taller than Goliath. But Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, succored him, in other words, David, and smote the Philistines and killed him. Then the men of David swear, right? They made an oath, Shabbai or Shabbai unto him, saying, thou shalt go no more out with us to battle. Thou shalt quench not the light of Israel. Verse 18. And it came to pass after this that there was again a battle with the Philistines at Gob, when Sebeki or Sebekai, the Hushathite, slew Saph, which was of the sons of the giant. And there again, a battle at Gob with the Philistines. We notice we still seeing the Philistines. Likewise with Goliath, where Elhanan, the son of Ja'ar Regim, a Bethlehemite, slew the brother of Goliath, the Gittite, the staff of whose spear was like a weaver's beam. Verse 20, and there yet a battle in Gath, right? That's where Goliath is from. Where was a man of great stature that had on every hand 6 fingers and on every foot 6 toes, so 24 in number. And he also was born to the giant. So all of these guys were tall. They were tall. Verse 21, and when he defied Israel, Jonathan, the son of Shimeah, the brother of David, slew him. These 4 were born to the giant in Gath, and fell by the hand of David and by the hand of his servants. So we see that these giants all came from the same territory. And we can see that they're connected to Goliath. We can see that this is the continuation of those 5 smooth stones, because here's the 4 smooth stones that was used here to defeat these giants. So again, slew Saph, which was the son of the giant. Now, let's go to when we deal with verse 18, right? There's a different word there, not the Nephilim or Naphal or Napal. We see another word here in verse 18. We see Rapha in the Israeli Rapha, and it means a giant, and it also says old tribes of giants. Were they ogres? Like we see the definition of the word giants. But let's go to Eastern Bible Dictionary and see the definition of this word here. Rapha says a Benjamite, the son of Beniah, and gives some scriptures here, a descendant of Saul. Then we see here margin of 1 Chronicles chapter 20, verse 4 and 6, where giants is given in the text. So again, what are giants? Right? And this is interesting, what we pointed out last night about Josephus, of what he had to say. For many angels of the Most High accompanied with women and begat the sons that proved unjust and despisers of all that was good, on account of the confidence they had in their own strength. For the tradition is the tradition of man, that these men did what resembled the acts of those whom the Grecians called giants. See, we have to be careful, family. If we're not careful, we could be putting a Roman, Grecian, Greeks. We could be putting a imagery of our oppressors over the text. But Noah was very uneasy at what they did, and being displeased at their conduct, persuaded them to change their dispositions and their acts for the better. But seeing they did not yield to him, but were slaves to their wicked pleasures, he was afraid they would kill him together with his wife and children, those they had married. So we see here again, and they departed out of the land. So Josephus is giving a historical account, right, of sons of angels, many angels of the Most High, sons of angels, right? Sons of Elohim, accompanied with women, and begat sons that proved unjust. All right. So there is another account of giants the Israelites had to face in the desert. We go to Deuteronomy chapter 3, verse 10 through 12. All the cities, and this is important here, all the cities of the plain and all Gilead and all Bashan unto Salcah and Edrei, cities of the kingdom of Og, or Awag, and Bashan, or I just said it correctly, Bashan. Verse 11, for only Awag, king of Bashan, remained of the remnant of the giants. Right? So only, as you see here, for only Og, king of Bashan, remained of the remnant of the giants. So here it is. He's the king of this remnant of giants. Behold, his bedstead was a bedstead of iron. Is it not in Rabbath of the children of Ammon? 9 cubits was the length thereof, and 4 cubits the breadth of it. So they're saying that his bed is like 15 to 16 feet in length. Now, come on now. We know that a 5'5" person is not going to have a bed that size. So we know he had to be tall, right? After the cubit of a man. In his hand, in this land, which we possess at that time, from Ar-or, which is by the river Arnon, and half Mount Gilead, and the cities thereof gave I unto the Reubenites and to the Gadites. So let's go to the Eastern Bible Dictionary, get a little information on the OG here. Og, the gigantic, the king of Bashan, who was defeated by Moses in a pitched battle at Edrei. It says here, and was slain along with his sons, and whose kingdom was given to the tribes of Reuben and Gad, and half of the tribes of Manasseh. His bedstead was of iron, 9 cubits in length, and 4 cubits in breadth, excuse me. His overthrow was afterwards celebrated in song. All right. So now, with that being said, this is going to get into another thing that I want to highlight. All right. I want to get into another thing that I want to highlight. Now we're going to deal with the heights. That's why I want to take it slowly by slowly. Right. I want to take it slow by slow. Now we're going to deal with the tallest giants, right? The heights of the tallest, should I say, what's the height or the tallest height of a giant in the scriptures, right? What's the tallest height of a giant in the scriptures? Do you guys know what's the tallest height? What's the tallest person that you see of the giants within the scriptures? If you want to post a comment inside the comment section, feel free to do so. I know I'm fumbling over my words, but what's the tallest height of a giant within the scriptures? Just post your answers and I'll read it up on the screen. All right. Peace and blessings to Stay on Fire Ministries. I see you in the building. All right. Let's see if we see any answers here. If not, I'll give the answers. So far, I'm trying to give a little delay here. Someone says, Yaquaba says 9 feet. Dante Williams says Goliath. It was Goliath. Right. Well, based on Enoch can quite possibly be taller, I believe. So Black to My Roots, 9 feet. Tone Ya, 15 feet. All right. Now we know his bed was 15 feet. All right. When we say, we say not Enoch, but Og or Awag, we can say his bed was 15 feet, which means that he had to be shorter in length for his bed. But Dwayne says 30 feet. Okay. Stay on Fire Ministry, 10 feet. All right. Let's see if we see any more answers. Then we're going to go ahead and answer the question. All right. Let's go ahead and answer this question. All right. I'm going to give you scripture. I gave you the answer, but let's go back here. Right. Let's go to Amos chapter 2, verse 9. And notice what it says here. Yet destroyed I the Amorite before them, whose height Gabah was like the height Gabah of the cedars, and he was strong as the oaks. Yet I destroyed his fruit from above and his root from beneath. Verse 10. Also I brought you up from the land of Egypt and led you 40 years through the wilderness to possess the land of the Amorite. All right. Now, is this passage saying that they were the size of trees? Because we see the cedar tree, going back to verse 9, it says, yet I destroyed the Amorite before them, whose height was like the height of the cedars, and he was strong as the oaks, yet I destroyed his fruit from above. Is this saying that these people, they were tall like trees? Because let me give you clarity about a cedar, right? Was the Amorites actually the height of cedar trees? That's the question, right? Like we see this image in the back here. Tall like the cedar trees. See, a cedar tree can grow up to 130 feet. So is the scripture saying that these people were 130 feet tall? If you believe that the scriptures is saying that there were giants, there were people that was 130 feet tall, type it inside the scriptures. All right. All right. And I see someone posted 4,500 feet. That is dealing with the book of Enoch. So yeah, I'm not even dealing with the book of Enoch. We'll deal with that next Shabbat or Saturday night. We'll give more clarity on the book of Enoch. But just within the law and the prophets, the first 5 books of the Bible, and with in any of the words or the writings of the prophets, what heights do we see there? All right. So again, we see that a cedar tree can grow up to 130 feet tall. So are we saying that there were people, tribes, the height of cedar trees, saying that they are 130 feet tall? Were the Amorites 130 feet tall? That's the question. See, Og, we just talked about him, was the king of the Amorites, described by Moses to be a remnant of the giants. So based on the size of his bed, Og or Awag would have been between 9 to 12 feet tall. See, family, this is where we have to understand some key words here. See, that passage that I read in Amos chapter 2 is referring to Og, the OG, and his people. So we know he had to be between 9 to 12 feet tall. So where do we get the thought, right? If we're not careful and understand this key word I'm going to bring up here, we can start teaching fables. We could sound just like the Romans. We could sound just like the Greeks, because that's how they refer to their so-called deities. See, this is where we have to be careful. Amos is referring to Og or Awag and his people, the remnant of the giants. And we know because of how his bed was described, his bed was 15 feet. This means that the king had to be between 9 and 12 feet in height. That still falls in line with Goliath. Goliath was 9 feet, 9 inches tall, almost 10 feet tall. So this had to be around the average height of these people. So based on the size of his bed, Og would have been between 9 to 12 feet tall. All right. So this is a key word I want to bring up. Idiom. Make a note of this word, idiom. And let's see what this word idiom means. Idiom, a group of words established by usage as having a meaning not deducible from those of the individual words. And it gives an example here. Rain, cats, and dogs see the light. So when you hear someone saying that it's raining cats and dogs, right? That's just explaining the intensity of the storm. Family, we know there's no cats and dogs falling from the sky. We know that there's no cats and dogs falling from the sky, but that is just a way of describing the intensity of the storm. So when they say that they're tall as trees, that's just in a nutshell, placing the point of emphasis of how tall they were. But we know that they were not 130 feet tall. So this is a word that, please, family, make a note of this. So when you see passages like this, even when we started dealing with, when we were dealing with the 10 spies, when they compared the sons of Anak as being compared to them, in comparison to them as being compared to grasshoppers, them being compared to grasshoppers. We know that they weren't that tall to them. But again, this is where we start getting into embellishment. This is where we get into idioms, trying to prove or to push a point, to place the point of emphasis on whatever argument. Okay, so again, I just proved to you that what Amos is referring to Og and his people, and we know that Og had to be between 9 and 12 feet tall. He was not the height of the literal height of oak trees or cedar trees. So are these the same giants that existed prior to the flood? This is the next question. Are these the same giants? Let me put it up here. I put an X there because I'm gonna prove to you these are not the same people that existed prior to the flood. And I'm going to show you here. Just because we see someone tall, taller than the norm, doesn't mean that they are sons and daughters of the Nephilims, or should I say the angels, the falling angels, because I'm going to show you why. The Most High wiped the earth clean of them. There was none that survived. The wives of Noah and his sons, the Most High would have taken them out if they had that inside them. Because the Most High was not playing. During the time of Noah, he brought forth the flood because of the perversion. Man was off the chain. And I'm not going to touch on it all tonight. I may save that for next week, because that in itself, I went on and put some additional slides back into the presentation so you could get the full picture. Let's start with Matthew chapter 24, verse 37 through 39. These are the words of the Messiah. But as the days of Noah, this is dealing with Noah, were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Now, what the Messiah is saying, he's dealing with his return. He's explaining how wicked things were during the time of Noah and how it caught the people off guard when that judgment came, when that storm came, even though Noah was warning them, but it still caught them by surprise. This is what he's dealing with here. He's not saying that there's going to be angels sleeping with or having children with women of this time. This is not what he's saying in this text. What he's doing is he's talking to his disciples, letting them know how when he comes back, it's going to be just like how the judgment came over during the times of Noah. So, but as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day Noah entered the ark. So they was just going on about their business. They were just going on about their business. They weren't thinking about no judgments. Notice this in verse 39, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. This is not saying that we living in another time of Noah. What the Messiah is saying that when he comes back, just like how it was during the time of Noah, it's going to be what? Unexpected, right? It's going to catch everyone by surprise. Just when you least expect it, he's coming back. He is going to return. But again, we see here, took them all away. not just parts of them. He wiped the earth clean. We have it right here. So no matter how we try to candy coat it, they were all wiped clean. Now, were there tall? Are there still tall people living among us? Yes, but they're not connected to here. Like some of the tribes that I pointed out. I'm going to see if I could pull a video up here and share with you guys. Actually, matter of fact, I'll just see if I could drop the link in here. So I want to make sure you guys understand here. And so, and family, let's not interpolate the text. When it says they were eating and drinking, Taryn Hamilton, I see what you posted here. They were eating and drinking, and they were marrying and giving in marriage, right? They are not humans. Now, that's not what the scripture is saying. It's just simply saying that they were going on about their business. They were living their life. It says right here, for in the days that were before the flood, they were eating, they were drinking, they were marrying, they were giving in marriage. Who are they dealing with? The people of that time. Doesn't say anything that says that they were non-humans. It's just saying during the time of Noah, the people of that time before the flood, they were eating, they were drinking, they were marrying, they were giving in marriage, they were living their life, just like how we have many people today living their life. Like judgment is not coming. They're going on about their day-to-day business, believing that tomorrow is guaranteed. Let's not interpolate the text. Let's go for what the text says. But guess what? If we want to include in here and say the sons of men included in here who interacted with the women, so be it. But let's not make this text into being that, oh, hey, this text right here is just saying that it's just they weren't human. No, they were human. And if you want to say, go with the thing of saying that the angels meshed with the women and had children, guess what? They were, then we can say that they were mixed. Half angels, half man. But not all of them were that way. But again, it was more to what was happening in Genesis chapter 6. But the Messiah makes it clear. This is the point that I want to make sure you guys get. Regardless of what you want to argue with, notice what it says here. Took them, right, all away. So there was none left, period. There was none left. The flood came and took them all away. Took them away, right? To lift, to take up, take away, right? Expiate sin, put away, remove, take away. And then when we look at it from a Hebraic perspective, to lift, burn, carry away, cast. Come on, family. Take away. Entry number 4, to be taken away, be swept away. So there was none left. Come on, family. There was none left. They all had to deal with the judgment. Right? So when we say taken away, all right, I see someone posting about the rapture. No, they were not kidnapped. Right? That's the true definition of the word. Rapture means to rape. It means to kidnap. It means to abduct. No, from a biblical perspective, they were taken from here. They had to, because of the judgment. That's what it means. So when will the Messiah return? He will come just as he came in Noah's day. He will come just as he came in Noah's day, at an unexpected, shocking time. Just as they didn't know that the end was coming, so he will come again when the world doesn't know it. Right? The Messiah is clear that all were taken away with the exception of Noah and his family. There's nothing that you can't even interpolate this. Period. There was no one else left. Period. So are the sons of Anak and Awag or Og the same giants that existed prior to the flood? No. They're not the same people. Just because you see words being used, not Paul or Naphal or Nephilim, just because you see the same words being used, doesn't mean it's the same people. It's just describing whether or not they are tall, or whether or not they are tyrants, whether or not they are bullies. 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 4 and 5. Look at what Peter says here. For if Yahweh spared not the angels, oh man, let me say that again. For if Yahweh spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment, verse 5, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly. Come on, family. You can't get it in. You can't get any plainer than that. Matter of fact, I'm going to have to give a 3-piece here for anyone that's trying to say anything different than this. All was completely, all during that time, with the exception of Noah and his family, was completely wiped away. They are not the same people. They are not the same tribe. And let's give this order to go. Come on, family. You can't get any clearer than that. You cannot get any clearer than that. So that's why I just want to make it clear, family. We're just going to let this scripture speak for themselves. We're going to keep it simple. We keeping it simple, family. So it says, spare not the old world. So this confirms not a single fallen angel, nor did their offspring survive the flood. This confirms also, right? This also confirms, excuse the typo. This also confirms that Noah and his sons' wives were not descendants of fallen angels. Because if they were, they would not be on the ark with Noah. Come on, family. It makes it's that simple. It's that simple. It's that simple, family. But can you still operate in the spirit of not Paul or not Paul Yam in the Israeli Nephilim? Absolutely, because we got a lot of tyrants among our community. We got a lot of bullies among our community. Just like when we're dealing with Jacob and Esau, two nations, there's the spirit of Esau and there's the spirit of Jacob. We got a lot of brothers and sisters that are operating in the spirit of Esau. The spirit of Esau, doing everything that they can to undermine their own brothers and sisters. Come on, family. We cannot get any simpler than that. We cannot get any plainer than that. We cannot get any plainer than that. All right? So giants, the Nephilim, the corrupt image of Yah. Let me say that again. The giants, right? The Nephilim, right? These, when we start dealing with that tyrant spirit, because man had a very tyrant, they had a tyrant, a spirit of tyranny during that time. They were corrupt. They were warped in their thinking. Man was off the chain. Man was off the chain, family. Let's see how long we've been going here. Man was off the chain. I'm going to stop right here because the next portion of this lesson, I'll just save it for this weekend, because this next portion of the lesson, that can take another hour and a half, and I don't want to keep you guys that long. I know some of you guys got to work tomorrow. I'm off tomorrow, so I'm going to be sleeping in. But still, I just wanted to revisit what I taught last night and put the slides in and kind of clean this up a little bit, just so that way you guys, you take your own assessment. You take your own assessment. When it's all said and done, it's you and the Most High. But truth be told, whether we believe that there were giants or not, that is not a salvation issue. That is not something that's worth losing your soul over. That is not something that's worth being mad and angry at one another. It's not worth it. It's not worth breaking up, severing ties with people because you may feel one way and they may feel another way. Family, certain things we just all still in it. When it's all said and done, we still trying to figure some of this stuff out. Right? So don't feel bad if someone don't agree with you. Don't feel bad if don't feel bad. I'm not upset if any of you guys don't agree with anything that I'm saying. You're entitled to that. This lesson right here is not a salvation issue. Now we can deal with another portion of this when we start dealing with demon possessions and all that stuff, but that we'll save that for when we see here the corrupt image of Yah. We'll save that for then. So with that being said, family, I am not going to hold you guys up. I'm not going to drop the link in tonight because I want to turn in a little early tonight. But I want to say to you, family, appreciate you guys for jumping on and holding it down, moderators. And again, feel free to post your comments inside the comment section and share the video. If you have a YouTube channel, even if you don't have a lot of subscribers, doesn't matter. We still family here. Share this video on your channel. This is how we can knock down what YouTube is trying to do to suppress the numbers on this channel. Because if you notice, I've been sitting at 39,000. Took what, 4 months to get from 39,000.7 to 39,000.9. Took 3 months. Since December, almost 5 months to add almost 200 subscribers. When actually the channel was from the start of it, when I started really putting the time into it, was averaging about 1,500 subscribers every month. This channel should easily be up to 80 to 90,000 subscribers, but that's another story for another time. So take this lesson, copy it to your, share it on your community channels, or share it on your YouTube channels, share it on your Facebook channels, share it on your social media channels. But nevertheless, family, really appreciate you guys. And the words of Moses through the Most High, the words that the Most High gave to Moses. Exodus chapter 14, verse 13 and 14. He said, fear ye not, stand still, see the salvation of Yahweh. These Egyptians that you see here today, you will never have to deal with them ever again. The Most High will fight for you. But here's the kicker, family. You have to hold your peace. Can't go back. Can't stay here. Keep moving forward. Shalom.
Listen, Genesis chapter 11 verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this back, Genesis 14 verse 13, Abraham steps on the scene. Being a descendant of Shem, which is a fact, means Abraham too was black. Abraham, born in the city of a black man, called Nimrod, grandson of Ham. Ham had 4 sons. One was named Canaan. Here, let me do some explaining. Abraham, Isaac was Jacob had 12 sons, for real, and these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel.